One of the greatest films to take the silver screen, The Shining not only overcomes traditional filmmaking standards, it exceeds them with force and efficiency. And while today I won't be providing any specific theories, I'll be talking about why so many theories can proliferate out of such a seemingly straightforward movie. Unlike most movies, throughout much of the film the audience perceives different perspectives that shift from multiple first-person and a third-person lens that, while all consistent, force us to consider the nature of reality and the nature of the overlooked supernatural condition. The synergy between what is seen and heard is quite remarkable given the bold directions both the music and the film choose to pursue. The movie has a large range of instruments employed, from the New Age-like sounds of a hazy spiritual desert that evoke a sense of vague, uncertain isolation, to long, heavy tones, to savage, cannibalistic percussion,
Great party, isn't it?
all the way to the warm invitations of a grand ballroom filled with comfort and companionship. The Shining never feels like it's breaking the tone of the film. While a whole video could be done solely devoted to the camera work of this movie, I'll just go right to the meat and potatoes. 5 years after it was made, The Shining was one of the first movies to use the Steadicam to its full potential. Inventor and photographer Garrett Brown also worked closely with Stanley Kubrick. Eager to incorporate the Steadicam, Kubrick judiciously used it to emphasize the spacious isolation of the hotel in many of his tracking shots, while at the same time evoking a sense of omnipotence and weightlessness. The shots of emphasized first person consequently lead to hyperrealism, which ironically leads to a feeling of surrealism. One unique property of the film entails its few continuity errors. In a typical film, inconsistency in between scenes can undermine and even distract the viewer from watching the movie. However, given the nature of the film and hotel, there are a few scenes where such mistakes can be fostered into the environment itself. Take this scene for example. The door on Danny's right changes in between shots during an unnerving scene when Danny decides to attempt to enter the room 237. Initially, the door is closed, but is then open upon the next hallway shot.
Little pigs.
Whenever we watch a film, we take for granted that the rules of that universe are established and are played by in that movie. The Shining challenges and evades the exact details to the very nature of the overlook and the insight experienced by all the characters by limiting our understanding of how the hotel exactly wants to achieve its goals. This plays into taking advantage of one fear that is universal to everyone on some level. Fear of the unknown. And it's exploited on an intimate level. Watching a family's dormant dysfunction slowly escalate into a father attempting to murder his family, while not fully understanding how much the conflict is induced internally and externally between Jack, Danny, and their environments. There are a few things that we are certain of in the film, however. We know the hotel is haunted. We know that in the drive up, there is a vague reference to the overlook being located on an Indian burial ground where there is mention of cannibalism.
You mean they ate each other up?
And that Danny's death is warranted, presumably because of his special powers, and that some form of sacrifice is sought out. If you notice, Wendy, the only person who hasn't had any supernatural encounters so far, doesn't see anything until Halloran is murdered. Perhaps some form of sacrifice. Because almost immediately upon his death, the wheels come off the wagon. Was this a coincidence? Was it needed? Does it help or pleasure the overlook? Did it only happen because Halloran could shine? What happens every time someone is killed? In the end, the movie tends to raise more questions than it answers, and even ends on that mantra up to the last scene with the photograph. Is Jack a doppelganger? Was he absorbed? Has he always been there? Is there reincarnation? Was he a copy of an original? Ultimately, The Shining delivers on a narrative and technical level very few films have ever achieved and will always continue to influence the way great films are made. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.
Midnight and a rendezvous. Your eyes held a message tender, saying I surrender.